Right now we're at Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee. Never again volunteer yourself.
Is it the Miller Lite can about the same color?
Yeah.
Alright folks, I'm going to flip the lights out for you so you can get a better look out onto the floor here at South Packaging. South Packaging is one of two packaging buildings here in Miller Valley. Alright, now we're all here. South Packaging is one of two packaging buildings here in Miller Valley. We have 3 can lines and 1 bottling line here. And we are able to produce 300,000 cases of beer a day out of this building alone. Our other packaging building, located to the north of us, cleverly named North Packaging, also has can and bottle lines in addition to a keg line. And between the two buildings, we are able to put out 500,000 cases of beer a day, bringing our annual total to 10 million barrels of beer. When you take into consideration the 7 other breweries we have across the country, our annual output is 85 million barrels of beer, which does make us the country's 2nd largest producer of beer. But folks, please don't ask me who that #1 producer is, as I'm not allowed to say a specific B word here in the Miller Valley. We are proud to be Wisconsin's largest and only major brewery. Alright, I'm just going to ask everyone to take 2 steps back from the windows. I'm going to bring down some TVs. We're going to watch another quick video. It's going to show you a little bit more about what happens here at South Packaging. So just 2 steps back from the windows, please.
The magic begins here in Miller Valley with the best natural ingredients. Our world-class brewers carefully mix, monitor, and test these ingredients as they go from mash tun to lauter tun to brew kettle. Frederick Miller's famous yeast is carefully added before fermentation. Then, after aging and filtering, the beer is ready to be packaged. About 60% of it goes into cans, 30% into bottles, and about 10% into kegs. The packaging process begins with fresh, new shrink-wrapped bottles and cans, each one thoroughly rinsed in warm water to meet our high standards. After rinsing, it's off to the fillers. This amazing machine can fill 1,400 bottles a minute. In slow motion, you can see the empty bottles being spun into position, carefully filled, and finally crowned, with each precision task being measured in split seconds. As fast as our bottles are filled, our cans are filled even faster, in large part because we don't have to worry about breaking glass. This machine can fill up to 2,000 cans per minute. That's a case and a half of beer every second. In real time, it's almost impossible to see what's happening. But when we drop down to slow motion, we can see the empty aluminum cans being filled with fresh beer, sealed with high-tech lids, and sent on their way to the pasteurizer. The pasteurization process is important because it gives our beer an extended shelf life, enabling us to store it unrefrigerated for up to 17 weeks without any change in flavor or aroma. That's where our special freshness date comes in. A high-speed laser printer shoots a freshness date onto the bottom of every can, the neck of every bottle, and the side of every case. This code tells distributors and retailers when to pull the beer off the shelf to make sure our consumers always get the freshest beer. We use a 7-character code. The first 3 letters are the month, the next 2 the date, and the last 2 the year. So in this example, the beer should be sold by August 22nd, 2011. Miller Brewing Company invented freshness coating for beer and was the first brewer to put a freshness date on all of its products, including a 9-week code on its keg beer. And speaking of kegs, ours are filled across the street in North Packaging on a machine called the Keg-O-Matic. It fills 12 kegs at once, up to 15,000 per day. Keg beer is true draft beer, so it's not heat pasteurized, but instead stored in coolers at 34 degrees to keep it fresh. MillerCoors is also proud to be the only American brewer to offer true draft beer in cans and bottles. To produce Miller Genuine Draft and MGD 64, we use a special process called cold ceramic filtration. This process removes all impurities and results in great tasting packaged draft beer that does not need pasteurization and that has the same shelf life as our other beer. Now it's time to label our bottles so you know what you're drinking. These machines can apply neck and body labels to some 1,500 bottles a minute. Numerous quality inspections are performed throughout the entire brewing and packaging process. Along all of our packaging lines, laser scanners constantly check for imperfections. If any are found, the products in question are bumped off the line and sent to be recycled or repackaged. Now that the bottles and cans are all filled, sealed, date-coded, and labeled, it's time to put them in boxes, what we call secondary packaging. The Milwaukee Brewery has long been an industry leader in packaging innovation, and that trend continues today. Cases in point, the unique Miller Lite Vortex bottle, the aluminum pint that drinks like a bottle and cools like a can, and our recyclable home draft systems for those who prefer that fresh draft taste over cans or bottles. The last step in the packaging process occurs here at one of our 13 computerized palletizers. Here, our packages are stacked onto pallets in layers of alternating patterns for maximum stability. All pallets are stretch wrapped before being loaded onto trucks and rail cars and sent off to serve our thirsty customers. It's not just great beer that distinguishes our historic Milwaukee brewery, it's also the way we run our business. We have a long history of environmental stewardship, and today our commitment is stronger than ever as we move towards zero waste operations. We've recently invested in paper and cardboard balers, as well as a can densifier, to improve the quality of our recycled byproducts and to reduce our overall landfill contribution.
For over 155 years, we here at Miller have been committed to being good neighbors as well as responsible corporate citizens, which is why we've invested so heavily into technology that does help us reduce our impact on the environment. Take, for example, these fans in our shipping area. They help us cut down on energy use during the winter months by recirculating hot air that gets stuck at the ceiling and pushing it back down onto the floor. We've also recently installed brand new dock heaters that reuse the steam that comes off of our process boilers. We're nearing the end of a 5-year plan to replace all of our old inefficient sodium-based light bulbs with brand new fluorescent light bulbs. These new bulbs are not only brighter, they also use less than half the energy of the old ones. And as we all know, water is a very important resource, which is why we try to use as little as possible. The industry average to brew 1 barrel of beer is about 3.8 barrels of water. We are proud to say that we have brought our usage down to 3.2 barrels of water for every barrel of beer. And when we say we've gone green, we really do mean it. This is the roof of our brewery administration building. It's covered in a plant called sedum. It is native to the state of Wisconsin here. It helps us by collecting rainwater and reducing our risk of polluting local waterways. Since 1855, we have been a vital piece of the fabric here in Milwaukee. And to this day, our brewery employees still abide by our famous founder's credo of quality, uncompromising, and unchanging. All right, folks, these TVs are going to make their way back up into the ceiling. I'm going to flip the lights on for us. Feel free to take any last-minute looks or photographs out onto the floor. Our next stop is shipping. We're gonna head back the same way we came, so down that same flight of stairs. So if you guys just want to turn to the right, you can follow me and I'll take us over to shipping.
Can everyone hear me? Yep. Excellent. Welcome to shipping. Here in the Miller Valley, we operate on 82 acres of land. We have a total of 76 buildings. Can you guys guess which one of those 76 might be the biggest? This one, that's right. We cover 200,000 square feet here at shipping. And capacity here is 500,000 cases of beer. So if you remember from South Packaging, that's about as much as we make every day. So that does mean all of this beer that we're looking at right now will be gone within the next 24 to 36 hours. We ship all of our beer via one method. Can you guys guess what that method is? Truck, very good. We have 22 loading docks at the back of this building. We're able to send out up to 300 trucks a day, and on each of those trucks we can hold 2,000 cases of beer. Now 2,000 cases, that might not sound like that much. Let's say it's the luckiest day of your life and one of our trucks breaks down in front of your house. For the inconvenience of having a broken down truck in your front yard, let's say we let you keep the beer. If you guys were to limit yourselves to a 6-pack a day, it would take you over 22 years to drink all of that beer. Of course, not challenging anyone to do this. Always drink responsibly. I'm sure we all do that here. So where does this beer go? 40% of this beer, believe it or not, goes to the city of Chicago every single day. The city of Chicago, not the state of Illinois. They drink about 4 states worth of beer on a daily basis. So whenever we have guests from Chicago, I like to thank them, tell them to keep up the good work because they keep us all employed here. 20% stays here in the state of Wisconsin. The remaining 40% does get shipped out to a 10-state area, which is Michigan west to Montana and Minnesota south to Missouri. We have 7 other breweries located across the country in Irwindale, California, Fort Worth, Texas, Albany, Georgia, Eden, North Carolina, Trenton, Ohio, Elkton, Virginia, and Golden, Colorado, home to, does anyone know? Coors, very good. We're available in all 50 states as well as over 100 foreign markets. So that's some of my beer knowledge. I'm going to test your guys' knowledge. We're going to play some beer board trivia. Just to ask you some simple questions about some of our beers. If you know the answers, just shout it out. We'll start with that top row. Those are some of our best-selling beers here. Which one of that top 4 is the best-selling beer nationally?
High Life.
Coors Light, there we go. High Life is actually the oldest beer we brew here. Coors Light is the best-selling nationally. Miller Lite is the best-selling beer here in the Midwest. All right, down to that second row. Which one of those beers is brewed and then shipped from the Czech Republic? Pilsner, very good. All right, down to that bottom row. Those are what we like to call our economically priced beers. Not because we skimp on ingredients, we just don't spend as much in advertising, so we're able to pass the savings on to you guys. Which one of those from the bottom row is technically not a beer?
Mickey's.
Mickey's, very good, has a little bit higher alcohol content. All right, final question, we'll make it an easy one. Which one of these beers has the least amount of calories?
Miller 64.
Very good, very good. Congratulations, guys. You've all earned some Schneider's pretzels, which we'll be giving to you during the sampling process. You seem more excited about the beer, but that's understandable. We're halfway there, guys. Coming up next is the brew house. It's the optional part of the tour. It is 56 stairs up, 56 stairs down, and it's about 95 degrees inside. So we do make it optional. If you guys do want to sit this part out, we have some benches outside of the brew house. We can just hang out. We're only going to be up there for about 5 minutes. So when we get over there, I'll show you where the benches are. Does anyone have any questions before we head over there? All right, you folks can follow me.
Feels like home. We're having a heat wave right now.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like 95, 100 degrees
Yeah.
for like a week straight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No break. So you get tired, you just set up, just get up some weight.
the Great Wall of China. But the Great Wall is hard. Steps around.
Stairmaster.
Yeah, there you go. Alright, so just over by the windows, it will be a little cooler. Congratulations on completing the Miller Fitness Challenge. You guys all passed. You'll be rewarded soon. We're one stop away from that for a beer. This is the brew house. The diagram on that wall kind of illustrates some of the things I've been talking about. The brewing process starts one floor above us in mash tuns. That's where we combine the water, cereal grains, and barley. All of the water we use is tested and treated for any impurities. At all the breweries, we have buildings dedicated just for water treatment. The cereal grains we use, depending on the brand, will be wheat, corn, or oats. That contributes to the refreshing smoothness of the beer. The barley we use has to be malted before we can start brewing. Malting process, we just steep it in water so it can convert the raw starches into fermentable starches, and then we actually heat it up in a kiln to stop that process. So it takes 3 to 4 hours upstairs. We take it down one floor into one of our 6 water tuns. The water tuns are actually made of stainless steel. The copper you see is just for show to kind of give you a taste of what the brewery used to look like. Six of them here. The water tuns you can think of as giant coffee filters. We're going to strain the grains. We're looking for that sugary liquid called wort, spelled W-O-R-T. We take that wort and send it down into one of our 6 brew kettles. The grains that are left over in the water tuns we don't throw away. We actually dry them out and sell them to area farmers that are used then as cattle feed. You may have heard that happy cows come from Wisconsin. You now know why. So in the brew kettles, that's where we cook the beer. We have a very important ingredient, the spice of the beer. Starts with the letter H. Does anyone know what that might be? Hops. Very good. We get most of our hops domestically from the Pacific Northwest, states like Oregon and Washington. The hops contribute to the bitter taste and aroma of the beer, as well as acting as a natural preservative. So after the beer's done cooking, we actually send it underneath the street. It takes 2 hours to get from this brew kettle into our fermentation building, which we can just see out of the top left hand window here. It's that red brick building with the American flag on top. In fermentation is where we add the yeast. The yeast eats the sugars, causing the alcohol and CO2 to become present. We do use the original strain of yeast that Frederick Miller brought over for most of our beers. It'll be in fermentation for 8 to 10 days. The final stop for the beer is aging. That's where we let the beer mellow out, make sure it meets its flavor profile. Our aging building is the tallest building in the valley. It's got that big red Miller soft cross on the top. Depending on the brand, it'll be in there for up to 14 days. We do employ over 300 taste testers to make sure our beers meet their flavor profiles. I originally applied to be a taste tester, so you can imagine my disappointment when they told me to start taking tours around. It's kind of a coveted job here. So I know I threw a lot of info at you guys, but that's basically our brewing process here. Does anyone have any questions before we move on to the caves? Alright, the caves are 60 feet underground, so it's quite a bit darker. When we get in there, just leave your eyes on the way to adjust. Alright, you guys can follow me? Okay.
Haley.
Let's cool off. Yeah.
It's cold there.
Get away from that wall.
Burr.
I want to go in there. Are you sure? Yeah. What's your appetite?
Into the caves of Miller.
Can you take my picture in front of the thing?
Alright folks, welcome to the historic Miller Caves. We are currently 60 feet underground, which explains the change in temperature as well as the slight change in odor. This cave dates back to 1849 and was hand dug by brewery employees to be used as storage and refrigeration before modern technology made it a little bit easier for us. This cave is 15 feet wide by 18 feet tall and was reopened in 1950. When it was reopened, some of the tools we can see on the left-hand side of the cave wall there were discovered. They were used by brewery employees to harvest the cereal grain, the barley, as well as by gentlemen like the one you will see on the stage. He was known as a cooper. He was responsible for making the wooden barrels that we put our beer in. You can also see one of his co-workers, a gentleman sitting down in the lower right-hand part of the mural. He was known as a handler. He was responsible for loading all of the horse-drawn wagons up with those barrels that delivered our beer all over Milwaukee, in addition to many parts of southern Wisconsin. But now for that special guest I promised you. Frederick Miller himself is going to come explain a little bit more about these caves, his beer garden, and his famous beer.
To enjoy my beer garden, the perfect place for my family and friends to enjoy the fruits of our labor. There were many good beer gardens in Germany, it is true, but I am proud to say ours is the best in Milwaukee. Oh, perhaps I should introduce myself. I am Frederick Miller. And you are standing in my famous caves. I must apologize for the temperature. It is a bit cool, to be sure, but it is all by design. You see here, 60 feet underground, my specially crafted beer stays perfectly cool all the year round. That is just the sound of the ice shifting around us. There are literally tons of ice lining the chambers of these walls. Each winter, we harvest thousands of pounds of ice from Milwaukee Lake as well as other area lakes and ponds, and then pack these caves solid, keeping my beer fresh, cool, even on the hottest summer days. After all, I have to protect my investment. It's 75 cents a ton of this special ice. But I'm sure you will agree, it is worth it. Now within these walls, we can store up to 12,000 barrels of Miller beer. Back in Germany, I never could have dreamed of such volume. But isn't that why people come to America? To make such dreams come true. I take great pride in the beer we store in these caves. Even when we were a very small brewery, we made the very best beer. It is my motto, quality, uncompromising and unchanging. As we grew, I realized that we were not only brewing beer, we were creating memories, the camaraderie, the moments in life that were made just a little better when friends shared our Miller beer. And I understand that you now call these moments Miller time. I'm honored that those moments with our beer still bear the Miller name. I think it's time for me to get back to my family and the party. You? I think you know what time it is. Cross!
Alright folks, as Frederick goes back to the bureau, I'll explain how the sampling process is going to work today. We're going to go back across the street into our beer garden. Your first sample today will be Miller Lite, your second two will be up to you. We got a big board above the bar, let's know what else we have on tap there. There will be water, soda, lemonade available for those not sampling. You'll get a mark on your wristband for each of your samples. After your third one, you should have a circled X. Those pretzels you all won during Beer Board Trivia will also be available to you, in addition to any photographs you took before the tour. We also have surveys at the bar. If you enjoyed the tour, my name is Joshua. If you did not enjoy the tour, my name is anything but Joshua. Finally, with great beer does come great responsibility, so always drink responsibly, designate a driver where necessary. I just have one last question for you guys. Can someone tell me what time it is?
Miller time.
Miller time. Excellent. You guys can follow me. We'll get you that beer.
Coors. Thank you.
So we just have a swallow.
One big swallow. Cheers. Cheers. Free water. Milwaukee water. Some pretzels.
He's already said that. A little bit late.